Okay, I'm here to do the TUF 4, or TUF 6, episode 4. Ooh, recap. Excuse me. Okay, where to start? Well, first up, we have the aftermath of Billy Miles' fight. People saying Billy kind of really didn't do anything. He kind of choked, and no pun intended, he did. He looked like he just kind of froze up on the big stage. I mean, I think Billy's a better fighter than John Kowalski. I think he's a better wrestler. He's got good ground and pound, and normally I think he takes that fight, but John gets it. Good for John. I like John. I like his attitude. And he's a pretty good fighter, actually. But honestly, I gotta say it, this season's cast is really not so strong, I must say. A lot of these guys aren't legitimate 170ers. A couple of them are actually bigger, like Miles and Kowalski have fought more or less at 185 most of their whole careers. And they're actually coming down to 170, but we have a lot of guys who really should only be fighting 155. Danzig, Joey Scarola, Matt Arroyo, Dorian Price kind of is in between. We're also going to see Blake Bowman, who's not really a 170. This is me, or Richie Hightower doesn't really look like it, even though he's apparently fought 185 in his career, and he's fighting 170. He's the lowest he's fought. He does not look very big. But onwards, we have Blake Bowman picking up an injury. He injures his ribs with some deep bruising and some inflammation on some joint. He never says the joint, probably because he doesn't know. But not a serious injury, but one that's definitely very painful and will interfere with doing a lot of things, grappling wise and striking wise. At the same time, you know, he fights through it, does a good job, and to be honest, I mean, he's got a pretty good attitude. I mean, he doesn't take things seriously, though. That's one thing that kind of disturbed me watching this episode. And I gotta wonder how he's on the show with a 0-0 in pro record. I know he has some amateur fights, but even his amateur record's not that good, and doesn't come from a reputable camp or anything. And I'm honestly just mystified. He's there for entertaining purposes, and to be honest, I guess entertainment should be the tiebreaker between equally skilled fighters, but it should not lead to a lesser skilled fighter being on the show. But I've been over this before with my issue with TUF. I'll leave it at that. Dorian Price is about a vertigo, which means he was dizzy and his balance was kind of off. And yeah, here's the thing: Matt Danzig, I think, might be actually a little bit bipolar because he acts like such a nice guy, helping out Dorian Price and even Blake Bowman. He rags a lot on Richie Hightower, who I'll admit I probably would not get along with if I met him, but I haven't seen the altercation according to his blog. Richie tells a lot of like sex stories that make Mac almost question his heterosexuality, but that's kind of all there is behind that, I guess. And he wears his hat like a douchebag, and it is a douchebag way to wear his hat, but still. Richie versus Blake is the fight, and again, Matt Danzig looking like a good guy, trying to help Blake out. Blake not taking it very seriously, although I think it was more Blake trying to point out that he doesn't have great striking ability. That is, he can't really do what you're trying to tell him to, Mac, kind of thing. Of course, Mac next episode apparently rags on Blake Bowman a lot, but here we go. We continue on with some training. We learn some things about the fighters. We don't really learn a lot that really sticks out to me, other than some of the fighters wonder why both Blake and Richie are here. They're considered their team's respective weak links. And of course we have Matt Hughes talking about how he picks 3 of the last 4 fights, which is true because he has the pick on the 3rd fight from now on. Theoretically, I have episode 7 unless they match up double fights per episode. Something screws up the order, but he'll pick the fight on episode 7, which, although Matt Serra officially picks episode 8's fight, there will only be 2 guys left, and that'll be the fight he gets. So, there you go. Matt Hughes, not crazy. Well, on this matter, he still does think he's Queen Esther. I'll leave it at that. In the fight, okay, Richie comes out, lands some nice leg kicks. Just generally, he looks okay. Gets kicked a bit by Blake. Not a lot of punches thrown. Well, they don't really connect. Those that do, they clinch. Blake worked actually some good knees in the clinch, which was about the only thing he did that made him look like he actually knew what he was doing. But that kind of just woke up the beast in Richie Hightower, and Richie just unleashed on him. And Blake's knee buckles, and he goes to the mat. Really doesn't defend himself at all from Richie's ground and pound. Richie just beats on him like repetitively, bam, 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 until the ref, who actually eludes me right now, I'm gonna say Herb Dean. Don't, really annoy me if I got that wrong, because I honestly don't remember. So yeah, they get the stoppage. Richie advances apparently, and then they run the preview for the next episode, which apparently has Mac Danzig ragging on Blake Bowman a lot. Paul Gorchev gets some bad news from home, or it could be good news and they're trying to psych him out or something. But it looks like bad news. I mean, how often does Dana White actually let them have a phone call? The answer would be, I guess when Rivera's baby was born. Even then, he didn't get a phone call. I got a video from home. But anyways, I'm not going to speculate what that is. Could be a death in the family. Could be someone sick. But we'll see. Other than that, not much else seeing in the promo. Other than Matt Hughes getting increasingly pissed. Matt's going to pick the next fight. I'm going to bet he's going to pick Jared Rollins from his team. Probably his best fighter left to fight someone on the weaker end of Matt Serra's team. I'm going to say possibly Job Koppenheimer, because doesn't really like him too much, because he wanted to fight Blake Bowman because it's an easy 5 Gs. Aside from that, I think he avoids George, because George is a really good fighter. Actually, a lot of people don't know him, but he's a very good fighter, and he is one of the very few guys who I think will give Danzig some trouble. I think it's going to be him, Jared Rollins, and if he can learn a ground game, Dan, Jesus Boy, might actually also become somewhat of a threat. Sarah's team is a little weak on the high end. They don't have some really weak fighters outside of Richie Hightower, who's now into the semis anyways. Not the semis, the quarters. So that's good. As for who they're going to pick, I could see them picking Troy Mandalones, because he's one of the weaker guys, along with John Koppenheimer. Probably not going to pick Ben Saunders, because Ben's a pretty good fighter. Probably not going to pick George, because George's a pretty good fighter. That's what I think. Rate, subscribe, comment, and peace.